All right, does look like we're live. I do want to double check that that is the case.
Must be working. Parker and Wayne are around.
It did Parker pop in?
Yeah, Parker just said good morning, and Wayne just said good morning.
Oh, great. Okay, let me see if I can. Okay, I do see them both. Thank you for hopping onto the broadcast. I'm having some issues this morning with my computer. So we're going to try and do it this way, and hopefully we won't have. You can still hear me okay, yes?
A lot better.
Awesome. I figured this would be helpful. Well, good morning and happy Monday to everybody. I am going to count on you all to share this out to your network. You can send it to your story or just on your profile page. Experiencing some delays off my desktop, so I want to make sure that we still get our message out to as many people as possible. When you are hopping onto the broadcast, please do me a huge favor and start commenting on here so I know who's tuned in. Also, give me a thumbs up so that I can see you on my end and know that everything is working just fine. I am Juliette Abdel, President and CEO of the Westminster Chamber of Commerce, and we are excited to bring to you our Monday broadcast. This is our opportunity to hear some updates from our mayor. He not only talks about COVID, some of the changes that we've had within our community, in addition to county, state, and other resources that might be beneficial to us. So before we really delve deep into the topic and give you some additional details, happy President's Day to everybody today that is taking some time off. I hope you enjoy that. Make sure that if it is your first time on our page that you give us a like and hit the follow so you can get those notifications when we do go live. And of course, to our amazing viewers that continue to come back to us, Parker Brown, Dave Carpenter, and Wayne Anderson, good morning to you all. Thank you for hopping on and tuning in. Now, at the very same time that we are streaming this on our Facebook page, this is being streamed on our YouTube channel, and that is available to you at any point in time to either share out to others in your network. Know that we are also on all social media platforms, Instagram and Twitter at Westie Chamber, and of course on LinkedIn, Westminster Chamber of Commerce. So long-winded, but I wanted to bring that forward. I will go ahead and just quickly bring up some of those comments from Wayne. Of course, he is tuning into us over on the YouTube channel, of course, from Parker, and lastly, from Dave Carpenter. So thank you guys for hopping on here with us. Mayor, I will go ahead and mute myself and have you take the floor away and give us some of your updates.
All right, good. Well, congratulations, everyone. Everyone has made another step forward in our COVID dial. We are in both counties still in yellow. Jefferson County is at 106 per 100,000, and Jeffco is at 115. We are very close to being able to classify ourselves as in the blue category. Now, with all that good news, don't run out and start celebrating. The issue that's holding us back from moving into blue, even if we move to blue on our numbers, is vaccines. As the governor said, he was not going to let us open up any more than we really are right now until we get more people vaccinated. That came out in the health order about a week ago. So it's still a big issue. So it's an example in Adams County, we're at 106, but we're in the blue, we're less than 5 on our positivity rate. And that's the same with Jeffco. Jeffco's at 115, but they're at a very low level in the blue category for positivity. But again, the big thing that's holding us back from getting anything any more open than it is now is the number of people who've been able to get vaccinated. This is not an issue of not having places to get vaccines. It's not an issue of people being willing to take the vaccines. It is an issue of the supply of the vaccines itself. Now, I know on the call that we had last Thursday with Tri-County, the question came up, could we open up a vaccine pop-up site down at the MAC? Well, yeah, we could, but we don't have anybody to sponsor it with the vaccines themselves. So it's primarily the healthcare providers. We are starting to see some comments about pharmacies starting to get stuff, hopefully this week. But I know that on Sunday, Kaiser opened up a call last minute I think they had 20 no-shows, and they had a last-minute call for people who wanted to go, but they were holding that only for educators. So people who filled up those slots within a matter of a couple of minutes. So still that. We have the 65 up age groups now eligible. We have educators now eligible, plus all those that were already eligible previously and going into the COVID dials in 1 and 1A. So we still have a huge demand. I believe it was last week the governor indicated that we would start to receive an additional 9,000 vaccines per week for the next 3 weeks for the state. 9,000 vaccines statewide is not even a good drop in the bucket. We are still continuing to see that. We know that Pfizer received FDA approval to include more vaccines in each vial, and that's starting this week. So they'll start to increase production to put more vaccines in the vial. But again, we still have to get it out to the people who are putting the shots in the arms. So as much as we're improving, we still need to be cautious. We will caution you again to the CDC recommendation that even if you've gotten your shots, whether it's 1 or 2, doesn't mean that you're immune to catching this. It doesn't help us with the issue of spreaders. We had an incident this past week that I was made aware of through the Tri-County, that a large group was advertising that they were going to meet and then going to not require a mask. It's still under a health order for the Tri-County, and in Westminster, you still have to have the people who are going to be vaccinated. They also still have to continue to wear a mask as long as we stay under the emergency orders. We are still in good shape as far as our hospitals on COVID infections. Those are down. We are not seeing as many people in critical conditions, which is opening up the hospital emergency rooms and the COVID wards to less people. But again, it's still an issue of being able to get enough people vaccinated. Other than that, we're, again, it's a positive light. As Juliet likes to highlight, something positive comes out of it. So we'll continue to look at our COVID numbers continue to go down. Hospitalizations are not on the rise. We're not seeing any big surges. But that doesn't mean we want to drop our guard and not pay attention to what the requirements still are. So with that, we've got a couple things going on. We will guarantee you that Councilor Scully will not let the council meeting go late because we don't have one. With the President's Day, we don't have a meeting tonight. And just in case you missed it, last week, we did go past midnight. But again, she's doing everything she can to keep our meeting short, and we appreciate that. And she did an excellent job for tonight, that we will not go late tonight. A couple things going on at the city. We still have a lot of activities that are open. A lot of our rec centers still are there. We have, started the evaluations of the applications that were submitted for the replacement of our municipal judge. What I can tell you is that we got a large number. In fact, we got 33 people who submitted for the position. The council members have those applications in their hands. They're going through the evaluations and scoring each one now. Those will go back to HR in the next few days with each council member's inputs, and then we'll start the shortlist process. A lot of highly qualified people that have applied. And that's a good thing because we are looking for a very well qualified candidate to replace Judge Soares, who went back to the 17th Judicial District as the Deputy DA. We also have the strategic planning retreat coming up on March 13th and 14th. Our council will be meeting with the consultant and only a couple of staff members because none of our staff have been vaccinated, nor are they eligible right now to be vaccinated. And as far as I know, very few, if any, of the 6 council members have been vaccinated yet. So that one meeting will be in person. We'll have our interviews. Those will probably stay virtual for some time yet, but we'll still continue to watch what we're doing. Not a lot of other stuff to report. We do know that a number of our test sites around the metro area closed down over the weekend. And I believe many of them are still closed today strictly because of the temperatures outside. The last time I checked, we were in a whopping 8 degrees in Westminster. Depending on where you're at, we will still have to see how that goes out. But we want to protect those who are trying to get their test, but also those who are trying to administer the test. Vaccine centers, again, some of them in the Denver area were delayed opening this morning for test centers and vaccine centers both. But we want to thank all of our healthcare providers, UC Health, Centura, SCL, and Avista for helping us stand up these pop-up vaccination centers and trying to get as many people vaccinated as possible. I know UC Health over the weekend moved theirs from outdoor to indoor just because of the temperature issues. But I think that most of those from UC Health, it still got over 1,000 people vaccinated each day. So that's very good. Trying to watch comments, not a lot of questions in.
We don't have a lot of questions in. I do see Brian Head, and I also see Pierre Brissett. Both of them have just given us a quick good morning message. And I do also see, it's more of a comment, not necessarily a question. I'm sorry, because I'm trying to pull things up on the screen. It looks like there's a little bit of a delay here. Yeah. But Derek was referencing kind of the flattening the curve and not overwhelming the hospitals with COVID, and then most recently that there's still the reaffirmation that people still need to wear masks and things even with the vaccine. Do you want to try and address that for us, Mayor?
I would just tell you that whether you've been vaccinated or not, you still need to wear the mask. That's still the order from the health departments and from the city. But again, just because you get vaccinated does not mean you cannot get COVID. It just means that you've got a chance of having a lighter case. But those who have compromised immune systems could be still in a critical position if they got vaccinated or not, depending upon how severe your case was. I know that one of the questions we had in there from Brian Head was talking about what are we able to do with the sub-zeros. We still have our people who are monitoring all of our homeless camps. Vouchers are still available to those who will take them. We are not forcing people inside. We do know that we have a general population of the homeless that will stay homeless no matter what. They just will not come indoors. Our big problem is where we can shelter them. Keep in mind that the homeless shelter in Jeffco is clear down in the southern part of the county. For Adams County, it's over in the east area near Brighton. So even though we find them, we will try to get people transported who wish to go indoors, or we'll try to get them something if we can find something closer. But the number of places that are dealing with homelessness in their residence or in their, we'll say, churches have dropped. We don't have as many available to us because of COVID and the concerns with that. And most of those shelters were being manned by people in their seniors, and that makes it even more compromising for them that they're afraid of catching something themselves. But again, if you identify an area where you think there's somebody that needs to have a wellness check on it, call the non-emergency number at the police department, report that, and then we can make sure that somebody goes by and checks on them. But our 2 people that we have on staff full time, along with our PD, we are making checks at all the homeless camps that we're aware of to make sure that those people have the opportunity to get indoors.
Okay. Thank you for that, Mayor, and I'm glad you caught that question because it still hadn't popped up on my end. I also see Councilor DeMott. Thank you, Councilor, for hopping onto our broadcast and for the good morning message that you have. Mayor, it doesn't look like I'm seeing any additional questions on my end. So I do want to just throw you a curveball and ask, sure. With the opening up of some of our businesses, especially we're seeing a decline in the numbers of cases, which is wonderful. Are we also seeing that our business community is using that 5-star program? What can we tell people about that if we're trying to answer the question of should they even look at it anymore? What does that mean today? And I know everyone's still trying to figure that out, but if you can give us some perspective, that would be great.
I can give you a little bit. It depends right now on the county. I know in Adams County, they stopped processing the 5-star program because we're at the yellow level, potentially moving into blue. So I know they put that one on hold. I think that's also true with Jefferson County. They've stopped processing because we're at those low numbers. But even with that low number, The governor has still put a hold on how far you can go with that because of the lack of people having vaccines. That's a big issue. And again, it's not the issue of people not wanting them or not having places to go. It's the actual vaccine itself. The productions, even if they increase them, it'll take several weeks, if not months, to get a large number of vaccines out to the distribution points. And then where are you going to put them? That's still an issue that's controlled by the state. We are seeing, I know some activities I saw, as an example, the Marriott Hotel. I'm just going based upon cars in a parking lot. I don't know what was going on in terms to it. But if they can do the social distancing and they are in that yellow category, it does give them a certain amount of latitude into the number of people they can have. So you have to look at the restrictions of the color code on anything outside of your known family and make sure you're in compliance with that. As far as I know, they met the compliance because they had an event there on Saturday night. Businesses are the same way. Look at the color code, look at the restrictions from your individual health departments to see what allows you to do. Most cases, the 6 foot distancing and wearing a mask are still two of the primary cares. Washing your hands, that should be just a common sense item. But we still are, we don't know. I mean, it's going to be depending from every day.
Excellent. And then I also see a question that's come to us. It looks like it comes from Dave Carpenter. This question is related to opening up places back up. So again, referencing that we're having some locations open up. How does that affect our city? Is the city planning on having in-person meetings again, or is that something that will be discussed as we move further along?
We are planning to have that discussion as the council at the post meeting at next Monday's meeting. We're getting information back from staff as to what those conditions might be and what it might restrict. But I would very likely say that we will return within the next couple of weeks based upon where we're getting feedback from the council and the staff. The big issue is we still have to protect those who have not been vaccinated. We have to make sure we can maintain the distancing and still wear a mask even if we're coming back in. So those are some things that are going on right now, but we should have a final discussion and a post-meeting item at next week's council meeting to determine a date on when we might return. But even if we return, keep in mind, we're still going to have the restrictions of the public. The fact that we're sitting at the dais doesn't mean we're going to just open wide open and say everybody can come in. We still have to maintain the social distancing that's required. And I think that's the only ones that are still open.
I think, yeah, that was some of the only ones. So with that, Mayor, and I know you mentioned that we do not have council or a meeting later tonight, but we do next Monday. On your radar, is there anything that others should be aware of past what we've highlighted?
Let's see if there's anything from council. I don't think so. Let me check the schedule real quick. We have our standing weekly meetings with the health departments on Wednesday and Thursday. I'm tied up, for those of you who have students in scholarship searches. I've mentioned this in the past that the Daniels Fund, which is one of the biggest groups around the metro area, Bill Daniels established this fund a number of years ago before he passed. It's a well-financed endowment. Students from New Mexico, Wyoming, Colorado, and Utah are eligible. I've been serving on the interview committees for the last 4 years. We actually will spend the day tomorrow doing finalists. We had 2,000 applicants. There are 250 who are on the short list. 215, I think, is the final number that will receive scholarships. The interviews in between the 4 states are tomorrow. So I will spend all day tomorrow doing interviews with students and then grading and recommending whether or not they should receive it. One that I am very proud of, and I already know that I'm not interviewing her, is the chair of our youth advisory panel has been selected as a finalist, and she will be in the interview group somewhere tomorrow. So that's great for her. Rachel is a very smart young lady, has already received scholarships to School of Mines and CU, and she has a multiple major that she was going to. But we have some very talented young kids here in the city and around the country that are going to be applying for these scholarships. And what the Daniels Fund does, if you have any other scholarships, doesn't matter, they pick up all the remaining costs. So you end up with a 4-year full ride scholarship, and you can go anywhere in the country. You're not restricted to any of the 4 states. You just have to be a resident of those when you apply, and if you get it. We will see some outstanding young men and women from across those 4 states that will run the gamut of what they're trying to go to school for. But it's for any accredited 2-year or 4-year college anywhere in the United States. So we will see some great students over the next couple of days. Those finalists will get notified in March that they have won. And then Daniels Fund Foundation is still trying to figure out how they're going to hold it, because typically, except for 2020, they've had a very large event down at the Marriott in Denver. I recognize the kid, they're in for about a week of orientations for the Daniels Fund. So all to be seen yet, but we will see some great applicants over the next couple of days.
That is terrific, and that's awesome that one of our youth advisory members or chair is going to be a part of that. I've heard about that fund, and I think it's just a great opportunity. So for any of you parents that do have kids that are of age and might be going into college, or anyone that might be watching that's in that category, please consider looking into that further. And since we're speaking on the vein of education, we recently had Adams 12 reach out. I know one of their area high schools, I believe up in North Glen, generally has a number of business executives come out and hear different pitches about from the students. So students are basically working on a variety of projects internally, from events for their school to taking on any issues that were brought forward. It's kind of a real life scenario that they get to try and address, and they're looking for business professionals that might be interested in reviewing some of those projects. There are 3-hour block increments that'll be doing it here over the next several weeks. So if you're interested in judging some of those projects and helping to provide your business expertise, please also comment on our video and let us know so that we can get you in touch with that school as well. It looks like we do have a quick question that or comment that's come up from Counselor DeMott. Thanks for the question. Certainly I'm pushing to, okay, so Counselor DeMott is responding to Dave regard to in-person meetings and his interest in trying to have people go back to more of a normal that we know. So thank you for commenting that, Counselor DeMont. Mayor, it looks like today is President's Day, so I'm assuming that any of the facilities that would be open right now are not for the city, or are some of our locations open today?
Well, the rec center stuff is still open, but the city hall itself continues to be closed. And the only other big issue is we don't have a meeting tonight, neither in person nor virtual. A lot of your government operations, state and federal, are closed today.
Excellent. All right. Well, I think the mayor has provided us a number of updates from COVID numbers that we've seen decline continually on the Jeffco and Adams side. He did start off with that piece of positivity for us, so I appreciate that tremendously. He then moved into kind of answering a few different questions that we've had with how we're servicing some of the homeless population, to reopening back for meetings at City Hall, all the way to some concerns from why continue to wear the masks and PPE when there are vaccines. He's gone in detail as much as he could on the 5-step program, and of course gave updates as it relates to the COVID vaccine, which is still coming in very small amounts of numbers or quantity. And just for clarification purposes, Mayor, I know we said that they've opened category 1B up as well, and that they have lowered the age. That is still, if you're in 1A or 1B, you can access, if the vaccines are available, you can access those vaccines, but the age is still capped at the upward of 55. Is that right?
Yeah, the 65 and up are now there, not 55, 65. So those are available today as far as people who are eligible. Educators got added in, all those got added in as of Monday of last week. So now you have the group that's 70 and above that still haven't been fully vaccinated. We still have some senior facilities that have not been processed yet. And now we've added a new group. Well, adding a new group didn't help us if we're not getting more vaccines. It's just going to mean that people are going to be on the list. There's still an objective by the state to have our senior facilities all vaccinated by the end of the month. But if we don't get more vaccines, that's going to, in my opinion, it will drive us into March. Now you add in the 65 and up, now you add in the educators. And as you saw, we saw an incident last week at the National Western Complex where toward the end of the day, they had something like 200 vaccines that were available. Unfortunately, they sent out a broadcast to all of Jefferson County educators, which is over 14,000, that they had 200 shots available. They experienced an overwhelming number of people running down to the stockyard, tried to get vaccines. People were parking on the roadways and on the highway, letting passengers out, running down, trying to get it. It was a huge mistake to broadcast it to that many people when they had a priority list. Now, hopefully they learn from that. And as these open up again in the future, that we'll have a better control over who they broadcast those to, because you can't scare people that much and tell them, come get your vaccines, they're all available. We only got 200, but we invited 14,000 of you to come down. That caused a lot of consternation, a lot of issues. So hopefully they will be able to do a better job of doing that. But now that Kaiser's started opening up some more of their vaccine locations, hopefully we'll see more of our educators statewide, not just in Jeffco and not just in Adams 12 or Westy, but we want to see as many of those people get vaccinated as well.
Absolutely. And thank you so much for sharing that point of clarification on the age category. And it's a difficult situation for a lot of those that have access to those vaccines and distribution to deal with. And, the mechanism for getting them out and storing them and using them in that certain amount of time, keeping them cool. I mean, there's so many that go in there. So it definitely is a learning on the fly type of experience. Believe it or not, we're nearly to our 30-minute window, and it doesn't look like I see any additional comments or questions that are coming our way. So before I wrap up, I will say this. Today is the last day for the We Love Westy sweepstakes. What that means is today, February 15th, is the final day for you to drop in on those participating businesses. Both lists have been posted on our website. As far as the businesses that are participating, it's also been on our social media page as well, boosted and pushed out. This is, of course, the Shop Local campaign in partnership with the City of Westminster. And so if you have a ticket, hold on to it until the drawing so you can see if you've won. Of course, the businesses will be giving out the tickets until 4:59 p.m. So literally 4:59 p.m. is going to be the final time that you can get access to any of the tickets that may be remaining at those participating businesses. And then come back here at 5 p.m. tonight to see if you have the winning number. We'll post the numbers here on our Facebook page, and we will also post it on our westminsterchamber.biz page. If you have any questions about how the contest rules apply or any of those details, please visit the westminsterchamber.biz webpage where we have the contest rules listed for you there. So thank you guys for tuning in to our Monday broadcast. I appreciate the patience and being so supportive as I've experienced my own glitches on my end. You guys have been terrific to work with. If you think of any comments or questions that you did not get a chance to ask us, make sure that you drop it into the comment section, and we'll get that either to the mayor or myself so we can address that for you. If you are watching this and we are no longer live, give us that hashtag replay so we know that you tuned into the broadcast. And of course, feel free to share this message out so others in your network can know what is going on in our community. And if they have any questions that may be answered in this broadcast, we want to make sure that they get that taken care of. So with that, I hope you all have a terrific Monday. Enjoy the week. And Mayor, thank you for spending some of your Monday with us.